Hey everyone, today I will be talking about the displacement of Native Americans. I feel this is a strong topic because Jackson didn't realize the mistreatments to the Indians were a fatal discardment of what he was trying to get at. He tried to realize the manifest destiny unconstitutionally, and this was a very misdemeanor to most of the Native Americans because they felt they were being pushed out of their territory they felt they deserved since they were there before the Europeans. But Jackson felt that he deserved that land because of the manifest destiny gave the God-given right to all Americans to the westward lands, so he wanted to move them to the God-forsaken land of Oklahoma, to which no one would have wanted to be because it was very arid with no crop building and no land, basically. He erected 5 Indian tribes. This was called the Trail of Tears. Because of the anxiety and excitement of westward expansion, Jackson had killed a lot of Indians in the process, to which most Indian children were left dead on the side of the road because Jackson would not let the families go back and bury their children. But one tribe had tried to actually fight for their land, which was in a 2-year war starting in 1818, going all the way to 1819, and that was known as the Seminole War. Now the Seminoles had tried to fight against Jackson's forces, but the forces had been too strong and fought them off and made them vacate their land and move off so that the Americans could take over. This gave the land of eastern and southern Florida to the new Europeans that had came over and founded the land. This had upset the Seminoles and caused them to fight for their land once again in 1838, to which they had also lost. But then, knowing too that their attempts had no avail, they had gave up and soon relinquished their lands to move to Oklahoma. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the Cherokees in Georgia and the Worcester versus Worcester versus Georgia case. The Cherokees were forced off of the Appalachian Range of Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Alabama. And the developed representative government ruled by Constitution in 1820. The Cherokees were not citizens, therefore it was illegal to sell any of Cherokee land to any part of the westward land movement. Supreme Court had attempted to keep the autonomy, but because of Jackson having such a strong army and defense, he went against the ruling of the Supreme Court and fought the Cherokee off their land, as did when the Seminoles were fought off their land. The rest of the Cherokees, which had not been going to the new land, had to induce abuse of the military, the temperatures, and sorrow of leaving homes. Most of them settled. Right now I'm going to go over the Seminole War again. So, since most of the Seminoles settled in Appalachia, Florida, Jackson got irritated, and because of the Seminoles' insubordination, he sent out more than 3,000 men and soldiers to punish the Seminole tribe in 1817 and 18. Most Seminoles resisted the Treaty of Paines, landing in 1832, forcing them to leave in 3 years. The Seminole War started in 1835, killing thousands of Seminoles and around 1,500 U.S. soldiers. And it costed about $30 million in war money, and it lasted almost 7 years. Finally, in 1842, the Seminoles were forced to leave their land and go to the arid, most traumatic Oklahoma. In 1990, 15,500 are still alive, mostly in Florida and Oklahoma. And now I'm going to talk about who got most irritated about what was happening to the Cherokee tribe. Davis was overwhelmed and disappointed about what was happening to the U.S. tribes and the U.S. forces' demand on trying to force them out. Davis was living in Cherokee County during the time the Treaty of New Etchatal was written, almost around 1835. He wrote last about this on March 5th, 1836. And he stated that no impartial info was stated, no facts, just opinionated falsations on the subject. It is not a treaty. It has no representation of the Cherokee tribe.